today I want to talk about how I finally booked a doctor's appointment with a functional medicine doctor to examine my gut health, which has been troubling me for the last 20 years. For those of you who are new here, I'm Vivian. I'm a chronically bloated American traveler who's been on the road for 6 consecutive years to see how I change if I stay outside of the US for an extended period of time. I have a bachelor's of science in nutritional sciences, and I am a relentless reader on nutrition, food, and mental and physical health because I disagreed with what I was taught during my degree. I went from always stressing about food and overthinking how I couldn't go to any event or any social event because I can't have any of the foods there to not even thinking about it anymore. These days, when I go socialize with friends, I ask them to pick where we're gonna go eat, and I just adapt myself to the menu without feeling any restriction and fear of foods I can't have. And that has made my life so much more flexible and enjoyable. I just feel like a huge weight has lifted off of my shoulders. The next step in my recovery is definitely seeing a professional who has a lot of experience with patients to see exactly what I need to do and speculate what's actually going on at a medical level, so that it's not just all about food and restriction, elimination, reintroduction kind of diets, and it's more about like getting to the root cause of my medical problem. The first thing I want to talk about is what took so long to book this doctor's appointment. Like, why was I feeling sick and looking bloated for 20 years before I finally did it? I would say a large part of it is I was focused on my travels. I had this like narrative in my head saying, oh, I got paid scholarship money, I'm gonna go travel the world with the extra scholarship money, and when I'm flat broke, I'll go back to the US, go to medical school and get a good salary, and then I'll have money to go take care of this weird bloating thing that's going on and see doctors and really take care of my health. So first is the world trip. World trip, world trip, world trip. Not gonna earn money, only gonna spend. My physical and mental health will come later. As my trip progressed, so did my IBS and my bloating. And these days I struggle to find outfits that work with my bloated midsection. Like, I just feel like I don't fit into so many pants. I always have to basically wear like a maternity style dress before I go out of the house. And that sucks. Like, my whole life is limited. At the time, I thought I couldn't afford a doctor's appointment. They are hundreds or thousands of dollars when you combine it with the treatments, labs, and supplements, because the Western medicine in the hospitals wasn't working, so I have to switch to naturopaths and functional medicine doctors. Then I read a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, where the author Robert Kiyosaki talks about not letting yourself say, I can't afford something, and rewriting that to say, how can I afford it? Another thing that was happening throughout my 20s was that I was letting other people tell me that I have to just accept it and move on with my life and not be obsessed with my gut. And that's not okay to me, because actually being bloated from gas in the small intestines, when gas should just be in the large intestines where it can easily exit, and being bloated from inflammation is actually really toxic for your body, and everything else starts to go. When the gut isn't good, everything else starts to fall apart. I think my body's actually like screaming for help, and other people that I looked up to and took advice from were telling me to accept it, like be bloated and stop being such a baby about it. And that's both really upsetting and unempathetic, but also it was partially the reason that I was taking so long to take things into my own hands. But as I started learning more about it, because it was becoming too much of a limiting factor in my life, so many of the online influencers that I chose and who give me good results in my life always remind you to not care what other people think. Put yourself out there, advocate for yourself, and do not care what other people think. A book that I loved reading is Love Yourself Well by Lo Bosworth. She has a whole section about advocating for yourself, even to your doctor who might not be listening to you. A lot of my symptoms are invisible on like a colonoscopy. I don't look that bloated at a glance to most people, but it doesn't matter what other people think and say. You know what your body is saying. You can feel it. You can feel the truth. Next, I want to talk about the breaking point. I was reading this book, Maybe You Should Talk to Someone, by Lori Gottlieb. She always talks about this one example in psychotherapy where a prisoner is wanting to be let out of prison, and he's like grabbing the bars, desperate to be let out of prison, except it's just one wall. There is no prison. It's just a fence standing in the middle of the field. Basically, our minds have trapped ourselves with the story we've been telling ourselves about what we can and can't do, what is okay and what is not okay, and how we're able to afford things or get help. So we just have to rewrite the narrative and walk around those prison bars. It's not enclosed. We've just trapped ourselves, and we just have to see that all we have to do is turn and walk around. Like I have to do now, Lori, the author, rewrote her own story several times. First, she was writing in the film industry, and then she fell in love with medicine and started medical school at Stanford Medical School. But then someone was telling her, why be a doctor when you could write? Two other things that were the breaking point for me recently was doing a trial session with a therapist where she really got that me being a woman, feeling sexy, feeling like I have a grip on reality for what it is, was heavily impacted by chronic bloating and always looking pregnant. And she started talking about how she once had fungal overgrowth. And she sent me an email saying what worked for her, which was eliminating for a year fruit and sugar and grains and eating anti-inflammatory. So her reaction and her attempt to like at least tell me what helped her really helped me feel like I really have to take action. She told me like whatever I decided to do, be 100% behind it. And the other thing that helped me was meeting a good friend here who was also well versed in gut health and how microbiomes work. We talked a lot about like how we personally eat. He personally feels better on lower carb diet, does fine with fruit. Me, I need moderate carbs. Like I feel like a paleo diet makes me constipated. So just like talking about this a lot and talking to him very openly and transparently about looking pregnant, feeling so demoralized every morning when I wake up and I see this stubborn bloat. Talking to him about it made me think about it way more, read my gut book way more, and decide that enough is enough today. So my appointment is scheduled for October, mid-October. What I hope to gain is a clear picture of exactly what is going on and what I need to do next. I've spent enough time and money trying everything myself, trying this supplement, that supplement, L-glutamine, omega-3, prebiotic fiber, at least 4 or 5 brands of probiotics. It's not getting to the root. I'm excited to speak to a licensed doctor who has an eye from experience, who has helped thousands of other people heal their guts. I suspect that I'll be eating very low FODMAPs for a while because this really helps people with their symptoms and even can completely correct people's fussy guts. I feel like I'll be put on some antimicrobials, like some herbs that will kill off overgrown bacteria and fungus that are like really deeply developed in my gut after all these years. So I just need to know which of those to take, how often, how much. I can't wait because I really feel like that is going to be a big part of the root problem. Imagine that every outfit, every surf session, every time I want to put on a bikini and lie on my belly, and every meal is just unnecessarily difficult in life. I want to one day be able to look at something really garlicky or to look at a salad or celery juice and feel appeal rather than fear. When I eat healthy and make my favorite recipes like raw vegan cheesecakes or smoothie bowls, I want to reap the benefits of those healthy, high quality, more expensive ingredients that I put into it. I want to be able to reap the nutrition that's actually there rather than be harmed by it. I'm on this channel to share where I'm at and how my gut health progression grows, and really to share anything and hopefully encourage you guys to do whatever's next for your own health too. I know nobody has perfect health and everyone's working on something. I'd love to hear what other topics you'd like me to research and discuss. I want to say that my life's work is on my blog, my website, which I'll link below, and I've been traveling around the world solo for the last 9 years, starting in Kenya in 2015 till now. I'm 28 now. I'm in Vietnam. Yeah, if you enjoyed what I'm talking about, please give this video a like, give me a subscribe, and send it to the one person who you think would most be comforted or inspired by these words. I believe in myself so much, and I believe in you so much. Don't forget that you're in charge of your own story.